thank you for sparing the time to speak to us. And I'm sure you've seen and maybe read some of the quotes that have emerged from this interview. It's quite startling, some of the stuff that we've heard from Dele. Were any of you aware at MK Dons of some of the issues he was going through or had gone through?
I think as players and friends, we were aware. Obviously, he didn't have the best childhood, and there was a few problems along those lines. But I think to the extent and severity of what happened to him and what he went through, we had no idea. I think as teammates and players, he was such a bubbly character. I think he was so good to have around the place, and you almost forgot. I think because of his maturity on the pitch at the time. I think, you forgot he was 19 and 20 during that period. So, I'm not sure if there were people that were aware of it, but like I said, to the extent, I don't think his teammates were aware at all.
It's always incredibly strange, Will, when, players who their relief is on the football pitch, they play brilliantly, and it was up for Dele Alli. Milton, MK Dons, and then to Spurs, and how he played for them. And then suddenly he faces the challenges that things don't go as well. And, he's talked about addiction in, so many things that were to touch on yesterday that you came away and thinking, even how we handle media and how we speak about these players, we have to sometimes consider what is going on behind the scenes in their life.
That's exactly it. I think as footballers, we're very privileged, and there's so many benefits of being a professional footballer. But at the end of the day, everyone's human. I think the amount of attention you get, and like you said, Dele was so young coming through. He was, probably England's first name on a team sheet at 22, and to go where he was at 16 Milton Keynes to that in such a short period of time, I think you're exactly right. Everyone needs help, and the media don't necessarily help that. But again, that's part of football. But we just have to almost take a step back and realise people go through things, whether it's on the pitch, off the pitch, at home, and we have to be a bit more aware and a bit more respectful to things that might be happening to people in their lives.
Tell us, Will, because I haven't been in a dressing room since 2000, and the dressing room of 90s and 80s football was quite a bleak place for people with issues, and would all just get on with it, gritted teeth. And tell us the dressing room of within the last decade of just how
the openness of
the openness. Yeah, exactly.
I think so. I'm probably in my 13th, 14th professional season, and I think, like you said, if I go back 10 years, talking about certain things within a dressing room or even to managers or staff, it just wasn't a thing. I think in the past 2 to 3 years, that has definitely opened up a little bit. I think obviously there's been a lot of work behind the scenes from different organisations, charities, and also clubs along the way that we have taken a step forward. Definitely, I think the awareness of mental health and the openness has definitely improved, and you are seeing things. I think maybe if that wasn't there for Dele, then he might still be suffering in silence. And I think there's other people that have been through that as well. But we are definitely taking tiny steps in the right direction. But like I said before, we've got a long way to go, and there's a lot of work to be done to try and help people that are struggling. Yeah,
and that's one of the key messages that Dele wanted to get out of that interview, that he wants to help others, and for him speaking out as he has done perhaps will continue to lead to further positive change within dressing rooms, but also just in society as well, about being so open and honest about mental health issues and also addiction as well. And Will, something that he mentioned that you alluded to, Cass, is the sleeping tablets and the prescription drugs that he had a big problem with. Is that an issue in football? Are you aware of that as well?
For me personally, no, I wasn't aware of that at all. I don't know, obviously I've played in the lower leagues and maybe it's not so rife, but for me personally, it's not something I've experienced or heard people talk about. I think obviously Dele touches on it as well. If you want something hard enough, there's definitely certain ways to find those things. I don't think it's just in football. It's like you said previously, it's society in general. So, there's got to be more to, drugs are too accessible no matter what it is. There's got to be something done about that. But in terms of football and my experience, I can't say that that's anything I've ever experienced.
Will, do you think now with what's happened in the last couple of days that maybe there's get help, move forward, and you've got a chance of being a Premier League player again for Dele Alli?
Oh, definitely. I think you know, it's obviously taken Dele time, and he's done it in his own footsteps and his own way. Because, you know, if I'd have looked back at that boy that I met when he was 19, he was the happiest. Honest, I'm not just saying this because of what's happened, but he was just a ball of energy. You would never ever have known what happened to him, and you know, to see him come back and finally be in a positive place where he feels comfortable enough to talk about it it's lovely to see. You know, obviously the interview to watch was horrendous and put a lump in my throat, but to see him smiling at the end of it and trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel, Dele's ability on the pitch is unquestionable. So if he can get in the right frame of mind from now, I'm really excited to see where he goes from here. And yeah, there's no doubt that we'll see him back in the Premier League soon, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, well, he does say, doesn't he, that mentally he is in the right place now, which is certainly the positives to take from that interview. Will, thank you for sparing the time.
Cheers, Will.
Thanks so much, Oldman.
Great to talk to you. That's former MK Dons striker Will Grigg, teammate at Stadium MK then with Dele.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.